Asia-Pacific tourism is set to surpass pre-pandemic arrival levels in 2026 as destinations focus on resilience and diversified demand. Joining us to discuss this is Noor Ahmad Hamid of Pacific Asia Travel Association. Glad you could join us today, Noor. So, what will it take for destinations to withstand geopolitical and climate shocks?
Think this is a very important question to start by reframing the conversation slightly differently, as we need to be honest with ourselves, especially with what's happening. Uh, Firstly, shocks are no longer occasional; they are very structural, and in fact, shocks are becoming much more frequent. For the pandemic, once every 3 to 4 years, you have crises and challenges. But now, it's almost like every other week and every other month there are some new surprises that's happening to our travel and tourism space. I think it is also important for us to look at the data. In fact, for PATA, we have just published our recent PATA annual Asia Pacific forecast outlook for 2026 to 2028. When we look back a bit in 2025, the numbers has reached the pre-pandemic level, which is very positive. In 2024, we had about 649 million international visitors arrival to the region. But since last February, with the challenges in the West Asia and or Middle East, I think we are seeing options to our space. That shows that resilience definitely hides vulnerability. Outlook and highlights into the data are now becoming a huge challenge for us. Geopolitical tensions and climate risks are now becoming more permanent, and it's really shaping how we should react. We have to ask ourselves, what does it take for destination to withstand these geopolitical and climate shocks? We are seeing destinations diversifying their source market. We have seen how some destinations who are over dependent on certain market can disrupt the entire supply chain. We are seeing destinations strengthening their intra-regional travel and also promoting domestic tourism as the travel buffers to fill up the hotel rooms, the tours, and so forth. And I think it's also important for us to ask, and especially for destination, are they really investing into crisis preparedness? As we are talking about the current crises that's happening, not only within the Asia Pacific region but globally. And in addition, I think we also need to be mindful about what are we still building destination for growth, or are we building destination that can survive disruptions in a more sustainable manner? Because this needs two different strategies in terms of not just destination marketing, but also destination management.
But wouldn't you say that tourism is still relying too heavily on arrival numbers?
The answer to that is yes and no. One of the most critical structural point in our travel and tourism industry is we are relying on the arrivals, international visitors' arrival. And globally, tourism has almost fully recovered with around 1.4 billion international travelers in 2024, 99% of the pre-pandemic levels. The numbers are important because that's how you measure your success. In the political space, we are looking at numbers as our benchmarking for how they want to grow our industry further. These numbers also represent about market dependency, the increase of connectivity, the economic impact that travel and tourism can bring to a destination. But I think the big question that we have to also ask ourselves, does more arrivals or more number automatically means better outcomes? We have been talking about is it volume over value, or in fact, is it value over volume? We have seen cases whereby because of we are very dependent on the increase of the volume, destinations are facing over tourism and over capacity pressures. And we can see that the pushback from the local communities, in particular that tourists are also using the same infrastructure like roads, public transportations, and so forth, restaurants that the locals are using. And when we have the mass tourism, this is where the relying on heavily arrival numbers are not the best thing to do. We also need to think about how do we want to shift our mind in the future. when we talk about the volume and value, we need to talk about the yield per visitor, we need length of stay, and how the value can also benefit the local community and the environmental sustainability.
Speaking of which, AI is heavily used nowadays to help with such. So in your opinion, where will AI have the biggest impact on tourism next?
Obviously, AI in travel and tourism and in any other economic industry are very important. We can see that in particular in marketing, for example, a lot of decision can be made uh, with much informed using AI, using data. As we entering this particular space, we are using AI to predict demand in real time. We are seeing how pricing and capacity can be optimized, can be managed in a much better manner. You can also see that destinations are using AI to manage the visitors flow. I strongly believe that AI will continue to reshape tourism, not just for the supply side, but also from the traveler's perspective. It will enable smarter decision making for the travelers to decide on where they're going next, how much they want to spend, and how they want to have an immersive experience. On the supply side, can make all those predictions and informed manner. Um, about 30 to 40 years ago in the automobile industry, we talk about autonomous car or self-drive car. This is almost an impossible thing to happen. But today we do have autonomous car. The question is for the travel and tourism industry, we have to ask ourselves, can we also produce an autonomous tourism industry with the help of AI in a lot of space, from whether you are doing your travel booking to going through borders, check-ins, and also going through all the experiences that you can have. So obviously, AI will have a huge impact for tourism incoming.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and for joining us today, Noor.
Thank you.
Once again, that was Noor Ahmad Hamid, CEO of Pacific Asia Travel Association. For more news, visit traveldailymedia.com.